Hi, I'm Georgette Pierre, and you're listening to Black and Nuance Podcast, dispelling the ideas that all Black people are monoliths because we're not. My guests and I bring our varying perspectives to pop culture, relationships, and things we go through that we can't always name. Welcome to Black and Nuance. Shout out to Excitement Radio and highly unique South Florida Radio for also holding me down in the South Florida area. Now, I have my lady friends, my guests, co-hosts, Tiani and Bianca on with me. We actually used to work together in TV, and we used to do monthly dinners where we would just uplift and support each other. So here is our version of just catching up and seeing what was going on in each other's lives during Rona. Welcome to Black and Nuance Podcast, Rona edition. I got my girls with me. We all freelanced at a TV network or a major media company. They shall remain nameless.
Okay, keep it. So we don't think of those things. Okay.
Right. But first I have Bianca and Tiani. Ladies, what's up?
Oh,
Hey,
girl,
not much.
living this Rona life, girl.
All right.
Absolutely. Fun fact, Tiani and I used to do a podcast called Venting and Vino. And actually, Tiani, I want to do something with that name. We got to find something to do with I really want to do something with that name.
Oh, God.
Should we open up a wine and sip or something?
Something. We got to do something. Or maybe that could be,
like a paint sip.
Or like it could be a series, a video series. We'll figure it out. But
Yeah.
Tiani, I'll start with you. Go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
Tiani, as Georgette said, I worked at the same company with her for many years. I work in the entertainment industry and just chilling at home, doing my thing, waiting for Rona to finish doing its thing. And that's it.
I love that. Bianca, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, y'all, it's Bianca. This is the Style Me Be wardrobe extraordinaire. I'm here in my robe, not getting dressed for like the last few months due to Rona, but you know, it's all good. We're keeping it real classy and cute with the robes these days.
You and everybody else, it's the new trend. I literally remember sitting on a virtual class. By the time they hear this, would happen a week ago. Girl, the only thing I had no pants on, and I had no regrets, or I gave no fucks that I had no pants on for this virtual class because all you need to see was top up.
Exactly.
You gotta be careful with that.
I'm introduced to like a lot of like the Zoom world and house party and all these like video chat situations. And I'm like, I didn't want y'all to see me, but okay, I guess we're doing this.
Right.
But to your point, Tiani, yes, like every time I had to get up, I turned my camera off.
Right. Yeah. There was some news reporter that got caught like with his pants off because the way the camera was positioned, you could kind of see his legs. So I was like,
no.
be careful.
I saw that. I saw that.
That's funny. Okay, so ladies, I want to kind of get into our world and some things that have been going on during Rona. I don't call her Corona. I only call her COVID-19 when I need to talk to a bill collector or something like that, because that's the only name they recognize, right?
Right.
We were doing our monthly dinners, and so I was just like, the idea came to mind. Bianca actually legit texted me, and I was like, yo, I'm so glad she hit me up. I said, we need to take our dinners to the podcast. Like, let's just do a version of the dinners on the podcast and catching up. And what we used to do was like literally keep each other encouraged, whatever was going on. Like, we were kind of plugging each other in with resources and like, okay, like, what are you doing? What do you want to do? Where do you want to be? All these things. Rona hit. And then, with us being freelancers, we also got the axe. I like to call us free agents. I don't call myself unemployed, but I call myself a free agent. But,
yes, that's a positive way to look at it. Yeah.
I had to, right? Because, this was company money that a lot of us were getting working for this company. We were getting this money in for several years on end every week. You knew when your money was supposed to hit. And if that didn't hit, you raising all hell. And so when that realization hit last week for me, or by the time they hear this, it's going to be 2 weeks, I was like, oh, okay. So this money ain't coming in anymore. Where my money at? But I have to admit, ladies, and I just want to, I'll do, get your opinion and your thoughts on it. When I came back to New York after leaving Miami or South Florida area last year, I said, man, I need to lean into my own stuff. My consulting company, I feel like I've given out so much valuable advice and insight to people for free. I want to get compensated, not just for my time. It was for my time, but that thought has evolved now. It's more for the value that I have offered people that have netted out beneficial results for them, right? Advantageous results for them. And so I was like, okay, let me do my consulting company. But I was still freelancing on the side. I didn't really have to be in the office. My situation was a little bit different. And then when I got when I got let go, I was like, oh yeah, nope, we're turning up, Georgette. We're turning up. We're forming this
Mhm.
company. This is what you're going to be doing. You have your production company, but form a second company where this is going to be bigger than you, where you get to scale it and have employees, and it's going to be a multi-million-dollar business at minimum. And so it kind of just forced things. But I just wanted to get a temperature check on how things have been for you all. I want to start with you, Tiani.
Okay, so I think I recently got laid off. It was kind of like, I think I've learned the word is furloughed. Like you kind of like, yeah, you kind of get laid off and they say, we'll call you when, if things get back to normal, we'll give you a call. And I wasn't super, I didn't take, I mean, I took the news well to them, but I was upset. Like I definitely, I haven't been unemployed for years. So, and then I knew what I was getting myself into because everybody's unemployment system is trash right now. So, and just dealing with other family members, I see how long it's taking for them to get it. So I'm just like, oh, I'm not going to see my money for like 2 months. So like, I definitely like didn't take it well. Sometimes, some days I'm like whatever it is, what it is. I'm not the only one. It could be worse. But then the other times I'm just like, this really
Yeah.
sucks. Yeah. So, but I see it's kind of like a bittersweet thing because I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just like, I was thinking about moving on.
Mhm.
So it kind of takes me away from, doing business with that group. It gives me a break. It gives me time to think things through. But I'm also gonna be honest with you that I haven't really been doing that much. Have been bumming a little bit, but I think everybody has the everybody has the right to just chill for a second. If like Georgia, you're very like go go
I
go, which is
know.
great. There are some people who are just like me, for example, who just needed a minute to just like think about everything because all this stuff is weighing on me. I watch too much news. I read too many articles. I'm getting, there's some negative thoughts that come in. But then at some point, I'm just like, okay, I got to start working on things. So I know, I mean, the things that I've tried to keep up is like I work out. I try to work out at least twice a day. And like eating has been kind of bad though. Not gonna lie, I've been hitting the snacks hard. But
All of us have.
we're getting back on track. I'm starting to eat a little better.
Bonuses.
I've been cooking a lot more for myself. So, we're working on it. It's kind of hard to be motivated to have a summer body when there may not be a
Yep.
summer.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's in the air. So I'm trying to like encourage myself to still, go for that summer body, even though may not even be going to the beach. But I'm working on. I'm also starting to think about the whole movie theater, drive-in theater thing idea that I
Yes.
had. The only setback in my mind, I'm trying not to let it discourage me, is that now everybody is thinking about the
Yep.
drive-in theater idea.
Yep.
So that kind of, was kind of like punched me in the gut a little bit because now everybody's like, oh, drive-in movies, social distancing. And I'm just like, damn. And I actually read an article where a guy is like just in New Jersey so far is starting like a pop-up drive-in business to just like the person that owns the property will just pay him something. He pops up the drive-in, then he goes somewhere else. And I was just like, wow, why couldn't I think of that? So like, but I'm still trying to be encouraged that, to have my business, which I want it to be more permanent in like one place. Maybe one day it'll be a chain, but I'm just trying to focus on a location. And then I'm going to start reading books about how to start a business. I actually got a book that's like how to start a business without any money. Because that's the thing that's freaking me out. I'm like, where is this money coming from? But yeah, I'm gonna start like working on that and trying to think of different ways to keep me busy every single day and stop trying like worrying about what the Rona is gonna do.
I want
That's
to
where I'm at right now.
before you, Bianca, you go. I want to say something, Tiani. A couple of points that you made, some interesting points. So it was funny that you were talking about the unemployment websites and systems. To be honest, we're recording this a week in advance, but I literally got up this morning and applied to unemployment for New York. and the shit took me less than 10 minutes. And they have it. And to be honest, other websites, like other states' websites, they have charged all these. I know Florida was one example. They charged all this money from these taxpayers or took all this money from these taxpayers for a system that is broken. Like it didn't even work. It crashed. But New York literally had it set up like you could not apply unless it was during the hours of 7:30 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. Mind you, I went to bed at 4:30, set my alarm for 7:30. My line sister called me to make sure I was on top of it, and I finished my application and submitted. So I don't know if you have done it already, but yes, to your point, I agree. There's been a lot of discouragement with people being like, this, the websites are down and all this other stuff. And so New York, I have to at least toot because they actually, surprisingly, the shit was so easy. Now, what
I don't
remains
know
to
if
be
I would
seen.
speak too soon on that because
I know, right? I was gonna say,
Right, because I submitted it.
Hearing
I
back from them
submitted
is a
it.
total different one.
right. And that's what I was going to say. Like, I mean, it remains to be seen, like when you have to go in there and file weekly, but I've been on unemployment before in New York and obviously not during a pandemic, but yes. The second thing I want to say, Tiani, because the gag is you've talked about this business before when we were doing Venting and Vino between 2016, 2017. Now, this is the one thing I would say, always trying to offer a different perspective. I think it's not a matter of allowing yourself to get discouraged. There aren't any Black-owned businesses. And I think that is your angle because there are companies that are going to be looking for, if they're not looking for already, trying to pull the diversity card. They are going to have to feed the diversity initiatives or whatever they have to do that are going to be mandated by governments and states. And so if you're a Black woman-owned business, doesn't matter if there's 10,000 all these people doing it. What's going to stand out is like, what is your service and what does your shit look like? What's your experience like? The last thing was, I came home to my mom's house, Bianca and I had talked about this on text message. Like, I am taking refuge at my mom's house in Northern Virginia, but I'm looking to get back to New York in a couple of weeks after like the May 15th pause, right? And so, I literally, Tiani, I could not get out the bed for 3 weeks straight. I could do not. I wasn't able to do anything. I literally did not have the energy to want to do anything like my podcast, any of those things. And to your point, like I am a go-getter, but I realized during the time of Rona, because of Rona, I had to really reevaluate and revisit what productivity looked like for Georgette. So that didn't mean like, Georgette, you get up at 9 and you're going. Like, to be honest, y'all, I don't get up now until like 12:01, but I don't go to bed until 4, 5, 6 a.m. But those are my most productive hours after 11 p.m. And so I'm with you, Tiani. Like, give yourself grace. And that's to anyone listening. You got to give yourself grace during this time. I was on a call with this woman that's a coach, and she was just like, we have never done this before. And everyone's trying to get everyone to be like, you got to come out your best self. And if you didn't learn all these new skills, it was like, fuck that. Like, we are fucking at home because we could catch the Rona and fucking die. Like, that has not happened in this lifetime for a lot of us. And so, yes, give yourself grace. But I just want to make those points and double back on that. So yeah, Bianca, kill it.
Well, my experience with the Rona has been, I feel like, just a mix of both of you guys. You know what I mean? Both of your experiences. It's easy to say you want to be productive, but it's kind of like going through the motions, I'm a worker. I like to work. I've been working since I was 14. You know what I'm saying? I've had a job and been working since I was 14 years old. So this time, I definitely feel grateful for the time, right? Because when I was in New York, I was saying, I'm working so much, things are so busy, I don't have time to kind of sit down and hone in on my next step or what I really want to do. So, in came Rona, and now you have that time to think. But also, as a creative, I've been a little disheveled by it. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to say, like, you need time to think about your next move and, try to put things into perspective, get a plan in place. But when you don't feel super creative, right? You're not in that mind frame. There's a lot going on, money and when this whole thing is going to get lifted. There's so many stressors that it's almost like you can't really think straight. So, I've been trying to utilize this time by, I've been trying to write more. I have picked up trying to sew. My grandma has been teaching me how to sew. So that's great. That's something that I, always really wanted to do. But also looking at other opportunities outside of New York, because before all of this, I was like, well, I would be coming up on my 7th year in New York, and I was like, okay, what does this look like for me? What does the next 5 years look like for me? And I said that I always wanted to move to LA and see what that work market is like, and now I'm like heavily considering it, and I've been looking for just a plethora of things online, just just to kind of see what would tickle my fancy, and a lot of them have been in LA. So it's just like a new start. It could be a new beginning. I for one know that when I get back, when this starts, like when life picks back up again, I personally don't want to go back to doing the same things that I was doing before.
Yep. I agree with that. I feel you on that. I mean, I want to explore. It's funny because I think a lot of people are thinking about different things, what the possibilities look like. I have to admit, I want to stay in New York, right? But to Bianca's point, and Tiana, I would love to hear your thoughts about this too. The idea of exploring life outside of New York. When I left New York, obviously I left before a pandemic, and I just wanted to see if there wasn't a career in being a radio personality. And I realized like that wasn't what I wanted to do. Came back to New York, and I came back to New York in a different way than I left, right? I came back to my own space, and money was flowing in, and then all of a sudden, like, damn. And the one thing I have to admit, the thing that I was so fearful of, y'all, when I got my studio apartment in New York, I was just like, God, I just don't want to go back on unemployment again. Because when I was on unemployment in 2013, I was on that bitch for 8 months, and I fell behind on my rent at the time where I lived. I was 4 months behind on rent.
Ooh.
And that and mind you, rent was $800 for my little studio room, because where I lived, I had to share a bathroom. But it was the idea of like not knowing how to take care of yourself or keep a roof over your head. Although I was always covered, I just really was like, God, I just want to get to a place where this is not happening. And so, Bianca's talking about exploring LA or another city. What about you, Tiana? Like, what has been like even transitioning into the thought process of what was everyone on the cusp of doing before Rona, and then what has Rona kind of forced you to start thinking about? We'll start with you, Tiani.
Well, I think I mentioned to you guys that I had just been promoted to unit manager. So like I literally had just started a new position at my job, to where I had planned to, in that position while I was still there, learn more skills to take with me to possibly move on to somewhere else. So like that's what I was trying to do by staying with the group I was currently with. And that kind of, I was probably manager for maybe 2 months, and then this happened. And then also I was getting ready to move out finally.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, I was gonna start seriously looking, I think last month, but I totally, as soon as this happened, and then when I lost the job, I was like, yeah, that's probably gonna be pushed back until like I don't even know. So like I like it definitely put a hold on that. And then I don't know if you realize, Georgette, but I am turning 30 next
Oh my
week.
gosh, no.
Yeah, so like I have a huge birthday coming up, and it'll probably be celebrated in this house. And one of the big things I wanted to do is move out at 30. I didn't want to go past that, be still living at home, and that I don't know. I don't know how much I can control with that situation. So that's what I was on the cusp of doing before this happened.
Well, at least you didn't move out. Geez, could you imagine?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
She is grateful that she didn't move out, like, and then all of this happened, That would have been terrible.
Right. That sucked. Yes.
I actually knew somebody else that was apartment hunting, and they end up going back home to their place where they live in Chicago, because they actually left Chicago for a job in New York, and then they got let go 6 months later, right? And so they're taking refuge at their parents' place, but they're deciding whether they're going to stay in New York or go somewhere else. But she was literally, she had just found an apartment with a friend, and they were debating about signing it, and look what happened. Like, the company that we worked for, they bankroll people for 1 month, and they were like, fuck that. we got to get rid of all these extra people that we're paying for stuff not coming in. And so, but so where are you at now, Tiani, on the scale? Like, I hope you don't discount you being a unit manager for 2 months. Girl, I'd be on LinkedIn like kadak, putting all.
Oh no, I put that on my
Okay.
resume and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
But
What's the question exactly?
Where are you at now as far as where you want to transition to? Because I always feel like, yes, these companies can say like, we're furloughing you, but I mean, T and you, I feel like you know the deal. Like they're actually trying to consolidate people even more at the company that we work for. So it's just like, those people might even be gone by the time like a lot of this stuff ends. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely. See, I don't want to say too much because I mean, I don't know. I doubt that they would be listening to this, but something I'd want to do is like, if I can go somewhere else, I'll go somewhere else. That's number one to me. Like honestly, maybe this was a sign to not go back. You know, if the ideal situation would be to when I start to work again, it's somewhere completely new. So that's how I feel about it, honestly. Like to be happy somewhere else if that's possible.
Nice. So Bianca, on to you. What were you on the cusp of? What did Rona, kind of reveal to you?
Well, before Rona, I would, listen, my business was booming. So, I had my month of March and April was already booked up. I was on my way to Virginia for a shoot with Dreamville. I was coming back.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah. That was like highlight. I was like, oh God, I can't wait. I got the call from my girl who was the producer, Major. She's so Major. She actually used this time to move to LA, which I was just blown away by her. But she got me into that, and that was like supposed to happen the weekend of like the third weekend in March. That got canceled. I had a bunch of shoots planned out, Victoria's Secret, like everything just is TBD. So, I'm just like, wow, and it was weird because 2020 started off of me just full force. Like I was booked up. I had a great new year. Came back, January flew, February flew, and I just had so many things lined up. So, you know, I'm sure that those jobs are going to, I mean, they have to resume eventually. But, I don't know how I feel. For me, one of my goals has always been to work on a show like Insecure, if not Insecure. And like one of my dream positions was like a job on like E! News or like Fashion Police. That's always been like my goal and what I wanted to get to. And I was realizing that a lot of my goals, necessarily, they kind of just revolved around the West Coast. So, I'm using this time for Rona to just be like, let me hone in on that. If that's something that's seeming to be a constant for me, let me, get my head together. Let me start reaching out to people. Let me, do my due diligence in giving myself that opportunity. Now, if I wouldn't be disappointed if I went back to New York and I just resumed life as is, but I kind of don't think that is the message that I want to take from this experience. I don't know if it would behoove any of us to go back to life as it were before, because it's almost like, what did you learn? A little bit,
Right.
So that's where I'm at with that. I'm excited. It's a scary place to be in, to have so much opportunity, so much unknown opportunity at your fingertips, but it's also a beautiful place to be in. So, I'm taking the time to be grateful for that and just kind of ride that wave,
Yeah, I definitely, and it's crazy with New York quickly becoming the epicenter with just because of the dense population. I wonder if Well, one, I don't think anything can go back to being the same in New York, right? I don't know if you all read about the 2 homeless men that died within 12 hours of each other on the train. They were found dead on the train.
Oh my goodness, no.
Right. And so you're talking about now people are already feeling like the MTA trains are like a festing ground or a nesting ground for the disease or the virus. And then the fact that like this is the main source of transportation. And then just New York really just coming under or a lot of ugly being unearthed. I think, and it was a great conversation I had with someone earlier, and I had been thinking this already. I think a lot of companies, well, one, when we first got off of like we couldn't work in the office anymore before anyone got laid off, I already felt like, well, now these companies that claim or felt like they had to have their employees sitting in front of their faces just to see if they're doing the work and they're paying for the work being seen. Like I can sit at my desk and still not get shit done, right? And so I think I think these companies had to really reassess what productivity looked like and what it looks like moving forward. And I think there's going to be a different tune where companies are now going to be more open-minded about possibly people maybe even giving alternate what's the word I'm looking for? Alternate suggestions on how they do the work, right? Like I know I applied to a couple of jobs at this network, but to be honest, y'all, with me having my consulting company, I want to pitch them as a vendor now. I don't want to have to come in as an employee anymore because the one thing I said to my former boss, I was like, I feel like people of color got the short end of the fucking stick during Rona when it came to layoffs from a lot of these companies. And I've talked to quite a few people and they were all people of color. You're talking about people that won awards for their agencies, this, that, and the third. And why are we the first to go? And that is something that has really
Georgette, let me tell you, I really think 90, like my team specifically, I think I'm the only one that got let go.
I believe it.
I'm like positive. I haven't confirmed it because I don't know how to confirm that, but I'm pretty sure the other ladies on my team are working.
Yep.
Wow.
So, yeah. So
it's funny that
was something that I had to wrestle with like every day because like that was the case.
But this is what I'm saying. Like some people were fucking blatant about it, and then there were others that weren't blatant about it. But if you worked on a team similar to you, Tiani, like for instance, the team that I was partially a part of when I came back, there was my boss, myself, a coordinator, and then one more person. Actually, no, there was like 6 Black people. My boss was really adamant about keeping her team diverse, so she had about like 6 Black women actually, and most of them. 2 of them were freelancers, 2 of them were staff. She had to let go of all her freelancers. Okay, cool. Well, the person that inherited her old team, he didn't really care for freelancers. He got rid of as part of his staff release, he got rid of my old boss, he got rid of the Black production manager. The only person that's left is the other Black girl, but she's on the bottom of the totem pole as a coordinator. But I feel like they're going to use her as not the guinea pig, but like all the menial work that they don't want to do. It's going to go to her, right? And so I literally started thinking about that. I was just like, is this a through line across the fucking board where all these people but to be honest, if it is, it needs to be an uproar where now we are supporting each other's ecosystems, Black creators. Like, what are you working on? What do you need help with? Like, what resources can I provide for you or can I connect you to? Because something's got to give, y'all. Something's got to give. It's we're in these white spaces where they're not respecting the work of Black people, but also act like they're the authoritative voice on fucking Black voices.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, that's and that's another huge thing, especially about being Black in these type of environments. You guys, I think we all work in entertainment. And we are usually one of very few, Black people within our spaces, but it's hard not to feel disposable, right? When you're like the first one to get let go, or, you can't get answers from anyone on anything. And, it's almost like, well, I've spent my life following my passion to do exactly what I want to do, only to get into this situation, with this pandemic and be like, well, shit, I feel disposable.
It's a terrible feeling.
terrible. It's terrible to think that. Then you just be like, well, shit. Well, should I just have been a doctor like my mom wanted me to be, or did you make the right decision? So yeah, I think all of those feelings are valid, and they come into play when it's just like you have so much time to sit and think.
Right. So much time.
You have so much time to sit and think about the choices that you made and what you want to do, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't have like a ton of work to do when I was working from home.
Yeah.
But I just feel, I don't know, I felt like if they really wanted me to stay on and like, or like try to fight for me to continue to
they
stay
would have
on, they
figured
would
it
have given
out.
me more work. They would have been like, you do this and then you do this. But it's like they let it die down so that I would have nothing to do, like, oh, easy, let's just get rid of her,
I think I can definitely understand those sentiments, Tiana, because the one thing I thought about, I guess maybe I was in a different space. In my mind, I was just like, y'all, I'm getting paid for free. Like literally, I was like, I'm getting paid for free. I am so grateful until I wasn't getting paid for free. But to your
Right.
point, and I don't know if your team was like this, Siani, but I know the team that I work for was a production management team, and we worked on productions. But if there were no productions coming in because they halted it, there was really nothing that most people can do from home. Now,
Right.
to your point, I think they were still trying to, I think there were some leadership that were still trying to hold on to the people they wanted to hold on to, and they would find justifications to keep them because the word was, at least with the company we work for, like they wanted to know and get the list of all the freelancers. Like that's how it started, freelancers across the board, and then you pick and choose who you want to keep. It's disgusting. And I was just reading a text from my mentee who's a publicist, and she got let go. Her and some other people of color that got let go that had just started with the company. She had moved across the country for this position as well. And it was like, well, some of these Black clients that they have, they want Black publicists. And you're just gonna fire the Black publicist and then like, let it be okay? Like, I don't, it's she said, she basically what she said, the point that I was getting to, that I was trying to remember, the point that I was getting to was, she was like, this is the reason why she does not want to work for a white company anymore, like, or work under, because this is what we have to deal with. We don't wake up in privilege every day and say like, "Oh, okay. Well, I think I'll be fine," right? Like, you have a whole team, like my old team is now full of white people, one Black person, and they're supposed to be the authoritative voice in production for various networks that also speak to an African American audience. Please. Please. So I just feel like, we say these things, but I think the actions have to be really loud this time.
Sure, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Like it's necessary.
Now, what about I know, Tiana, you were talking about your productivity levels. Like, do you all feel the pressure? And I know I had lightly mentioned it earlier, but do you feel the pressure to do all these things right now?
I didn't feel the pressure to do all these things right now, but I think now that it's been about 2 months, I'm feeling like I'm waking up later and later every day. I'm just like, and then I'm seeing like, some like PAs that I used to work with. I'm very happy for them. But they just released like their own YouTube series that they have been working on. I was like, oh my God, I feel like I need to be doing something. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to have I never have all this time at home. I'm always in and out constantly. I should be doing something. At least let me finish a book that I've been reading for 6 months. Like I need,
Yeah.
I need to do something. So yeah, I think at this point I'm feeling like I have to, start moving on some things. At least get the bare bones of a business plan while I'm sitting at home doing nothing. But then I still watch a lot of TV and do nothing as well, and I don't feel bad about that.
Right. I think, the one thing that the reality is, I think, Tiani, like a lot of people aren't thinking about, we have been working since we were 15, some people 14, 16, 17 years old. Y'all, we're in our 30s or damn near creeping for some, you said you're turning 30, Tiani. So you're talking about over 15, like damn near over a decade of your life, you have been working. We have never had this much time to be still. And I think it just bothers a lot of us. But I think that, y'all, to be honest, I've been coming up with the most ideas. Even when I used to like work from my apartment, my brain was always rustling because I was working part-time at a radio station and I was ready to leave there. And then I was just kind of annoyed with my other situation. But being at home, y'all, I'm just rolling out ideas, like pumping the shit out, and some shit's about to come out. But yeah, so it's just being still, and the reset has definitely allowed me to look at things differently. What about you, Bianca?
I just feel like
You said you felt pressure though.
absolutely. Like I just feel like people are like, oh, well, you need to, like, if you come out of this quarantine without having learned something or a new hobby, then you wasted, like, it's a lot of shame. Like, people are very, like, I feel like people are like, this is the time that you need to be starting something and blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of pressure, I feel like, on people to not just chill and enjoy the time. It's more like, what new hobby have you picked up? What book have you read? What have you done to, better your life? So I get it on that end. But to be honest with I think it's great, Georgia, that you're like able to pump out so much content and be super creative, because for me it's been the opposite effect. I almost feel like I'm in jail, like, what I'm saying, where my creativity level is so low. I think because I'm such an extrovert. I'm so outgoing. Like I love New York because I can step out of my house and I see something that I've never saw before, see people in their element, people watch. That gives me inspiration. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like being around people and being social and just working in a creative field. And like I said, even just getting up in the morning, going to the train, going to work, like even just that is super inspiring for me. Like the city is so inspiring to me. So, this time away from the city, this time spent alone a lot is I'm not gonna be honest. It's not boosting my creativity. If anything, it's making me just feel like, what the hell's going on? You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, I wanted to say something to you, to your point. Listen, Bianca, when I came home to my mom's house, I could not lift a finger. I could not lift. I mean, and so I'm not going to front like my productivity levels as of now were always like that initially. No, it took me almost a month, and I've been home for almost 2 months at my mom's house. So you're talking about the first month I came home, I was like, like,
listen, yes.
So you're not alone.
Yes. Well, it's good to know that. And I think that's the beauty of this podcast and this episode, and the beauty of reaching out to, your fellow creatives is, to get some type of grasp on reality, and I think at a lot of different stages with all of us, all my people who I've talked to, everybody is in different levels or different stages of where they are within the Rona, but we all have a lot of similarities in what we have gone through within it, as far as like, that stress of not knowing what's going on, or that need to feel like you're working a lot or doing a lot. It's nice to be like, okay, I'm not the only one feeling this way,
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, I look forward, from what everyone has said, I look forward to our next badass chapter vibes. Yeah. And we got to talk about how we can support each other. And I think, Tiani, whenever you are in the mood mentally and emotionally speaking, work on a rough business plan, and don't think it has to be perfect, right? It's just you writing the idea out, getting it out of your mind, and slowly putting certain things into place. So I love that. So I want to get into this next segment called All of the Things. It's really lighthearted or heavy, depending on what the topic is, something that happened in our day or our week. And I know we talked about summer mood, summer vibes. Do you think we're tucking our summers in? What we doing? Y'all?
I'm remaining hopeful that we will have part of a summer. I think it will still be like, we're wearing masks, which is going to suck. But I just think people are too into the economy being reopened that they're willing to risk human lives. So I think we'll be let out. But I just think we're just going to have to take care of ourselves and be smart and think about, what you're risking your life to do. But I do think there will be like a little lull. I had a trip to Austin in March. We rescheduled it to late June, so we'll see if I'm still going. But yeah, I hope that summer still happens. I'm gonna hold on.
I think we might get August, because the way things are going, and like, I'm just to be honest here, I feel like this is going to be like this at least until July, but they know people will wild out if they told them in March or
Yep.
April that this would go till July. So they're doing it in monthly increments. So by May 15th, they're going to be like, oh, I think we're going to extend it to June 15th. You know what I mean? I think that some things are going to be open because obviously, the economy, they need that money. But as far as everything opening up, I think it's a big no. And I think that they know people would go crazy to be like, yeah, so this Rona thing, we on lockdown for a good 3 months.
I actually agree with you. I was saying,
Right.
my line sister lives in Dallas, Texas, and she was saying that they were doing like month increments as well, or like they had done like things 2 weeks at a time at first, and then they started doing monthly because people will just bum rush these essential places and businesses, and all of a sudden, like people are probably fighting over canned goods. And I said the same thing. I was like, this is going to be on a monthly basis. What I do think is going to happen, and the reason why I'm hopeful about May, I think the New York State on pause, May 15th. I think they're going to, for some reason, something's telling me they're going to honor it, but not in the way that people would like it to be honored. I think they're going to slowly open things up, but not in the way that you would like. You're not going to, May 16th, you're not going to be going to your restaurants and having dinner like you used to, right? Because some of these places weren't able to sustain being out for 2 months, right? But
So that's what I was gonna say. They're doing phased reopening. So they're like
correct.
phase one, this is gonna happen, these kind of businesses, and then two. So that yeah, you're right. They're definitely gonna open things up, but it's
Right.
not
I
gonna be
definitely agree with
everything.
you. And I think the other thing too is I agree with you on the July, August timeline. I mean, listen, August, Leo season, I don't care. Y'all bring y'all ass and just recognize
Yeah.
what season is up when
Yes.
it comes time when we come to play outside. But the other thing I also I thought I would hear people talk about is, people think that the increased want to be in a relationship and
Uh,
intimacy. I mean, Bianca, starting with you, where do you stand with that? Because I know people are virtual dating. They're almost acting like, and not to say it lightly, but like, the world's coming to an end, or they're not going to be able to, find a partner. And this is the time they really want a partner because, you couldn't imagine not having someone during these times. But the one thing I want to throw out there is like, but people are saying that they're ready, but have they done the work to even be ready for their partner? So I'm just curious on your thoughts, Bianca, about has Rona and the quarantine, has it increased your need or want for intimacy and being in a relationship?
not really. It definitely has, all around had me questioning a lot of things. And again, like, decisions that I made, because a lot of my friends and family are married and with kids and things like that. But that hasn't pushed me to be like, oh, I need to be finding a mate right now. That's just not where I am with it. I also am not a big online dater. Like, so, I my friend was like, "Oh, you should get on, join Bumble or whatever." And I'm like, "Girl, I'm good," because people are, whether you guys are pressed to be in a relationship or not, you are who you are. You know what I mean? And a lot of times these online things just do not work out in person. And my thing is that, like, if you can't even link up, you might just be getting catfish for the like 3 months. And then by the time you get to meet the person, you like all fully invested and you meet them and it's not what you think it is. It's like, girl, you don't wasted your time. So I I'm good. I think that I'll wait, but honestly, like I've been working out outside and doing a lot of things outdoors, and I can tell you, I do feel like the men are in heat. They are like pressed to be like, hey, how are you? Like, can I have your number? And I'm like, relax, sir. I'm just out here trying to work out. I'm not really trying to do no love connections. Um, so that's just been my experience. I know, Tiani, you're in a whole relationship, right?
Thank you for bringing that up because I was going to call her ass out for that. Go ahead, T.
Yes.
All right. So actually, he's been quarantined with me for the past few months.
Oh,
So we had
has he?
yeah, so we
Okay,
had a
girl.
little practice run at living together. So the good news is that we get along, even though we see each other every
Okay,
single
well,
day.
that's positive.
So
Wait, okay, so where have y'all been quarantined, Tiani? Because you don't have your own place yet. And what about
yeah,
him?
I'm at my house. His
That
so yeah, no. We both were trying to move out. That's what we were about to do. Um, and I don't know, it's been fine. I mean, Like we've been getting along. His parents, the thing is, his family, like his whole household, got COVID.
Oh
So,
shit!
right. Yeah, it seems like they're fine. Like they definitely don't have like the version that's like sending them to the hospital, which is good. But they definitely had it. They got tested, and that caused him to be displaced. So he stayed with me and my family.
Wow.
It's either displaced or catch the bitch, right?
Would you say?
I said it's either be displaced or catch the bitch, right? Like, because
Okay.
his whole family has it. That's I can't even fathom that, Tiani.
That's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, it ends up being very lucky for him because I don't even know. Like, I mean, I guess he could have gone to another family member, but yeah, that's what happened. Like, he's literally been here since like March. That I forgot that whatever Saturday that was after we were forced to work from home.
March
that first
15th. March 15th.
Yeah.
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 Wow. Wait.
So
So did you get let go that week too? When did you get let go?
No, I worked from home for at least like a month.
A
I
month.
think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
I think the dates probably were the same for all the freelancers because they had a date for the freelancers and the date for the staff personnel that they let go.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
So he's been with you for a month. Is he
It may
working?
actually be a little later. It was definitely March, but
Okay.
he's been here since March. Yeah.
And so is he working? How, what's been going on with him? Like, how's he been
Well,
handling?
no, he's just been taking like he has like time off, like vacation days at his job. So he just has been using those and staying away because he can't be in his area to go to his job. So and he's an essential worker. So they don't want him either because he's been around his parents, so they want to make sure that he's good.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. Yeah, I
Right.
think, for me, I don't think Rona has allowed me to Rona didn't put me in a place of thinking about relationships and intimacy. I was dealing with somebody. I think the one thing that I did think about was just like, damn, like I could have still been kicking it with this person, but they ghosted me. And so it was just like, okay, well, let's let Georgette work on what she needs to work on. But I was just talking to a girlfriend right before I got on with you all. And she was just like, Georgette, just remain open. Just remain open. And that's what I'm working on, even though I'm lusting over one of my guy friends. So that's another thing, but whatever.
Hey.
He's not even. You said what?
So we're offline on that one,
right? And so, but it's been like a funny back and forth. He doesn't live in New York. He doesn't live where my mom lives. So, and that came about recently. I was just like, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Look, she's like, yeah, I like him. Can't even
Wait a fucking minute. Y'all are funny. And so, but I think I don't know what will happen. I think where I'm working on, what I'm working on is being present. Every opportunity that I get to wake up, I just want to be present in the moment. Y'all, it took me a month and a half to start going on walks in my mom's neighborhood. I literally went on a walk today. I went on a walk yesterday. That was my first time. I said, Georgette, you got to get outside. You got to get outside. And just walk and breathe and take in the fresh air. Because, I wasn't doing that in New York at all. But you're also coughing in smoke and shit and all that dumb, it's dirty. The air is dirty in New York. So it's a little different. But my mom's house, it was just, peaceful and quiet. And I'm listening to Drake's, Dark Lane demo tapes. And I'm just going to town. And so it's been good. It's been good. Ladies, we gotta stay encouraged and keep each other abreast on what everyone's got going on. Like, just be each other's support system. That is a thing that I'm going to be pushing from here on out. An ecosystem for us, for people of color.
Absolutely. I think that's so necessary. We got to keep ourselves encouraged and
absolutely
accountable.
Definitely.
Bianca, starting with you, how can they find you online?
Okay, y'all. So I am on IG. Style me B, STYLEME, B as in boy, EE.
Hey, and Tiani, I feel like you're barely on your socials, but go ahead.
I hit them up all the time. I just don't post anything. You can find me on Facebook, Tiani at Tiani Warren, and you can find me on IG at Tianiwa.
Tianiwa.
That is awesome. Ladies, thank you so much. Thank you to my guests, Tiani and Bianca. It was so great catching up with them and doing our monthly dinner version in audio form, putting it on scratch. You can find me on Twitter at Georgette and Instagram at Georgette Pierre. That's GeorGette. You can find the show on Twitter and Instagram at Black Nuance Pod. That's Black NUANCED Pod. You can find me on Apple Podcasts, Anchor, which is my new home, iHeartRadio, Google Play, TuneIn, and Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Email me at blacknuancepod@gmail.com for questions, comments, feedback, and big announcement. I am officially on Patreon under Georgette Pierre. Your support as a patron will contribute to my production company's goal to positively contribute to the Black experience. It'll only be $5 a month. That's it. You'll get early and exclusive access to various digital series and Black Nuance podcast related content, behind the scenes look at the creative process, input on the creative process with a patron only poll, ad-free podcast episodes, monthly live Q&As answering industry related questions, patron shout outs. All of this for $5 a month on Patreon. I thank you for your support as I transition into my next journey, which I'm so excited about. My production company is called MYS Productions, which stands for Master Yourself Productions. So I am really doing the work to support the Black creative ecosystem, and I hope you all join me on this journey as well. I appreciate your support and listenership. Until the next episode, peace.